In this video, I'll share my minimalist and dare I say attractive VS Code setup that took my code editor looking like this to this. Because of this setup, I get asked the question ever so often on the internet, what code editor are you using? And TLDR, it's VS Code by the way. I have been using this setup for the past 4 years or more, and by the end of this video, I will also show how and why I use VS Code in both light and dark mode. I know it's a little bit controversial, but stick with me to the end and let me explain. So, my journey to this current look of my VS Code editor started all those years ago, and it started by a person called Caleb Pozio, who is the creator of Livewire and also Alpine.js. So I think it started off with like tweets of what he was doing to make VS Code less cluttered, and I've always loved a minimal look of things, and even the way I work, I just like minimalism. If you, um, so he started off doing some tweets, which I was copying some, settings here and there, and then I think he then went on to make like a newsletter where he was sharing this free settings, and then he made a course which is Make VS Code Awesome. So this course I actually bought it. So I remember vividly back then, I just got a new MacBook, and this was the first thing I bought after the MacBook. And then I used it to like set up my VS Code editor. I I've done a little bit of revision over like since that time I did it, and I'm not using everything he suggested, but this is like a good place to start if you want to like just be invested in like having an uncluttered workflow. So yeah, highly recommend that. But how about I show you my settings.json and then I walk you through, everything in there that I did. Some from this course, others from like my experience and like just tiny annoyances I found using VS Code. All right, so let's do it. So I will pull up VS Code. And for those of you who don't like light mode, bear with me. I'm going to switch to dark mode very soon. So yeah, this is my settings.json, right? And it's a little bit, I don't know how many lines of code are in here, but it's a little bit heavy, but not that much. And where I want to start from um is better defaults. All right, so you could see that my VS Code has it's uncluttered, so to speak, right? And the first thing I did, which is a little bit controversial, right? Again, is the sidebar location. So if I pull up my sidebar, you could see is here to the right and not to the left. And that's because I tried it, and I think also influenced by Caleb, where he suggested like the so he made an argument of why your sidebar should be to the right. And when I tried it, I really liked it because if it's to the left, let me explain that. So I could comment this one, and if I open to the left, you could see how it pushes the editor, right? And I do not want that because my workflow is always having the sidebar closed and then I just focus on code. So no, we couldn't have that. So and having it on the right sort of like make you want to close it, right? And it's very, it's look bigger than usual. In fact, I think Caleb had advised you make it ridiculously big so you're forced to close it. But mine is always closed by default. All right, so that's the first thing. In fact, if there's one thing you should do right now is to just try it out. Have the setting in your settings of JSON and see how it feels. Okay? Hello there, friend. So it has come to my attention that about 95% of the people who watch the videos on this channel don't subscribe. My goal is to get that number down to 50%. So if you're watching this video and you've liked it so far, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. I would really appreciate if you do. Now let's get back into the video. So what else? There's so much settings in here, but I'm just gonna call a couple that I I see or I get to experience how they make my workflow really better day by day. So the status bar, for example, I do not like the status bar. If you do, it just looks really, really cluttered, and we want minimal. So no, thank you. So no status bar for me. Then tabs. Um, it, I like to focus on one thing at a time. Even in my I'm one of the few web developers who don't have lots of tabs open even in the web browser. So in my code editor, I want to see one tab at a time. So I do this, you know. Editor show tabs should be single. All right. So guides and indentation, which are those little noise? You see this? Just a lot of noise. So no, we don't want that. So I don't want mini map. I don't even know what that does anymore. Oh yes, that thing. No. Uh-uh. The line numbers. I don't know about you. So that at this point, you could leave a comment if you like line numbers in your code editor. I know a lot of people who swear by it, and that's fine. But I rarely have. So maybe when I'm debugging, maybe pair programming with someone, then we get to be like, I think I need to like see your line numbers, and I just uncomment this. But by default, I mean, look at it. What I don't want that. All right, so I don't have line numbers in here by default, but they're still I could still navigate by them. So since I use Vim, I could just say maybe 30 and it jumps, but that is just like a wild guess, right? But if I have to, I have it, right? What else should be interesting to you all? Yeah, so these are no longer. So this one was kind of fun. I think Caleb suggested it, but I don't really need it anymore. I think I'm going to delete it after this, and you're going to need to restart. I'm going to let's restart. So you're going to need to restart your editor if you make this change. So you see, it looks like this with this. I think I like it the way it looked, so that's why I don't have it on. So I think I prefer it looking like this. But if you prefer the other way, you could do native full screen force, and that takes away. But I'm gonna move that. Then I've edited format on save. I like to apply Prettier because I use Prettier for formatting or any other formatting stuff I use. I like to format on save. So yeah, not on edit. I like to format on save. So the tab size, I made it two. It just worked for me. Um, yes, snippet suggestions should be at the top when you have code snippet suggestions. And so yeah, that's mostly the things I have experience with and I use day to day. So this is like the better defaults. Like that's the first part we'll start with. Then silencing the noise, which is going to be really interesting. So close my sidebar. So let's start with the breadcrumbs. Like I don't know if you like breadcrumbs. This stuff I don't like them, so I don't have them. So it's false. Then source control, div decoration, none. Then editor hover enabled false. Then match brackets. I think match brackets. What does that even do? Let's see. I can't remember what that do, but definitely, yeah. I think I know with the whole line decoration to match brackets. I don't need them. And workbench tips enabled. I don't want to workbench tips, so that's disabled. Color decorators, no. Git decorators, no. Yeah. Then light bulb, like the old light bulb thing that shows here. I don't have them. If I need them, it should be in problems here. So I just go check the problems tab, and that works for me. Then selection highlights, force, overview ruler, and yeah, so problems decoration also force. I don't want to see them in my editor, so I always go to like the problems tab in there to see it. Yeah, one thing I know you will be interested to you all is the font because I get asked what font. I know developers be like, oh, what font is that? So I use a font called Hack. I don't know what I was using before it, but I think this is the font you're saying, right? So let's go to code. Let's see. Let's look at this code. So you could see this is how it looks. Yeah. And so yeah, that's it. And I probably this should be a good segue to switch to the dark mode for you that like dark modes. So toggle, not toggle. Preference. How's that? Yeah. So yeah. Um. So the again the editor font size is 17 as my font size. Then line height 40. You could make it smaller if you want, but it's all preference. I kind of like the way it looks. Um. Yeah. It's also the font size for my terminal. It's 17 with this one. Then so this it's what I set for find. So by default, I want to ignore all this, whatever is in there. Like I write Sales.js is my framework of choice, and we have the .tmp, which is temporary path, which is this. So I don't want to search in there ever when I'm doing find. So also node modules, dists, package dash lock, yarn lock. I don't want to do that. We are getting to like code where I have the editor word separators and just emit stuff. Um, so yeah, and that's basically it. Again, very minimal. One other thing so if you notice the sticky thing, like when I scroll and it sticks, it's the I think it's a it, this is I think I saw it from West Boss post where you could make your editor sticky. So when you scroll, so for example, you could see that stickiness, and you could see sticky. So that's all. I think it's this one. What did I say then? Yeah, editors sticky scroll enable true, and workbench tree enable sticky scroll true. All right. So that's mostly it for my settings. All right. So you could see very minimal. I don't think it's even that much really. All right. But these are every other thing else are more, are more code specific. Like I use Astro View and, just telling them what to use for default formatting and all that. So yeah. So next thing I wanted to show you is my current theme. So because again, font. So I think three things that developers like, especially when you do a video, like you're doing like a code video, like what editor is that if it's not obvious? What font are you using? Then what theme? Okay, so my theme is Vitesse theme. Let me see, theme, color theme. So yeah, so I was using shades of purple before. I even did like I did like I did make it super dark. So currently I use Vitesse for both the and Vitesse was what got me to really like light mode because just like I said, I was totally on the dark mode camp of things. Like for like I was like, why would you ever want to code in light mode? But I found out that it's not that bad if you try it. And I have the best of both worlds, which I will show you how I do it in a bit towards the end of the video of how I get like the best of both worlds using both the light and dark mode. So I use Vitesse as my color theme, which you could find on the extension store. So speaking about extension, how about we check the VS Code extensions that I use? Yes, and so I'm going to pull that up. So enabled, you could see. So I use Vim. Yeah, I use Vim motions. Strict Vim user be like, no, you don't use Vim. You use Vim motion. Yes, it's true. I use Vim. I tried out using Vim like new Vim didn't work for me, too much config. So I best of both was again VS Code with Vim binding. I like this Vim. I think there are a lot of extensions that do Vim motion, but Vim, is that how you say it? Or Vim? So that's the one I have. And I have Astro because my blog is still on Astro. DominosKelvin.dev, the website is still using Astro, and a couple of my other projects use Astro. So I have the Astro language support. I don't know what I was doing when I had to install this, but probably messing around with I think I was trying to contribute to Node.js or so, which I haven't gotten right to doing, but you know. Then I have Docker. I don't know why I have this or what I use it for. But duplicate actually I know why. It's to duplicate like a file thing. It's kind of like, when I want to duplicate files and stuff. I think I have a command for that too. So ESLint, of course, then Go. I'm used to write a little bit of Go. Um, so live share, of course, the Lua, So I'm going to skip the ones I don't use often. I think I should uninstall a couple of these. Then post CSS language support. Yeah, of course, prettier. Then sales language support. Is the extension I'm working on for sales, the official extension for sales. That do a lot of cool stuff. If you're a sales developer using the borrowing stack, then I was using Shades of Purple, which I mentioned. No longer use it. So Svelte, yeah, because the borrowing stack supports React, Vue, Svelte. So I write React, Vue, Svelte. I have Svelte. The Tailwind is official extension, or Tailwind IntelliSense. Yeah, I think it's the official one. Then Toggle. I'll explain why I used to have this in a bit, or why I don't use it anymore. Then the Vitesse Theme by Anthony Fu, which is one I currently use. Then Vola for when I was trying to write. So I was trying to author the sales language support using Vola. So I installed their dev tools. So I didn't go writing it with Vola anymore, so I don't really use it. So things to clean. All right. Then of course Vue official support. All right. So that's it for my extensions. Pretty minimal. Like you can see, I'm gonna declutter again. Then so how about key bindings? Like you've seen how I've been opening stuff. I don't really click around. Like this workflow or this setup, it's sort of like have at its core that your workflow is keyboard driven, and I think you should do keyboard driven workflow because it just minimizes the click around and you just being on your. That's why I use Vim, right? Because you're on your keyboard, so you could navigate to keyboard. You could do a lot of key bindings. So like investing time in learning key bindings and shortcuts actually good. So let's switch to my key bindings. All right. So the key bindings I use. I think this was also suggested. Most of these were suggested in the course I mentioned, and also by Caleb. So this one, Command K, Command E opens the Explorer, so which is the one I use often. So it opens the Explorer, right? Command K, Command G open Git things, and Command K, Command D open debug. I really don't use this often. I should use it. I should learn to debug a lot without using console.log, but then Command K, Command S for live share, Command K, Command X, which is what you saw when I showed you the extension. Then Command K, Command B toggle sidebar visibility. I like this one. I use it often. So whatever is visible in the sidebar, Command K, Command B, just toggle it. All right. Then Command E would focus the active editor. So let's say I'm here and I want to focus. Now the sidebar is focused. With my Command E, I should be focused in the editor. Okay. Then Command T for terminal things. Yeah. Yeah. So if you could recall that toggle that I said, I'll tell you why I have it. So before my new setup, which I'm using for screencasting right now, I used to have to bump up my editor font size when I want to screencast or record a new course, but I don't think I need it anymore, really, to be honest. And I'll probably just get rid of it because now, in this setup, everything looks big by default, so there will be no need to bump my font size. In fact, I could try it now. If I command KK, you can see how big it now looks. No, we don't want that. So I definitely going to get rid of that one. Then Command D is to duplicate. Then what else? Yes. Command N for new file, Command R for refresh file explorer. Then these ones I haven't learned them quite well. I have to get to them. So but by default, these ones up here are the ones I use like every single day. All right, every single day. So yeah, let's talk about my light and dark mode story, which I know you're waiting to hear. Why I use light and most times when people see me use light mode, I'll be like, so if I share a code snippet online on X or anywhere, like, oh my eyes, yeah. But I think using light mode some of the time is not that bad. It's actually fine, especially if you have a good theme like the one I do. All right. Like the one I do, it's really, really good. And I know a lot of developers that code strictly on light mode. All right. So you can see how I'm toggle system preference and how the editor adjusts to it. and that's because of that's my workflow. So by default, my MacBook is set to transition to dark mode for like everything for apps that support it. I think what is it 5 p.m. my time, which is Nigerian time. Then in the morning it's all light mode. So like during the day it's actually quite okay to use light mode. So I've found, right, that it works for me. And I can't remember the setting. But let me go let me see. Um System. Okay, wait, hold up. Let me see. Let me see if I could find settings. Probably we need to go to the UI for this one. I can't remember what it is, but let's see. System preference. Um, dark mode. Is it dark mode? Oh, yeah. So this is the setting here. So you could see how I'm setting like so. This is for like workbench appearance. So you specify the color scheme when system color mode is dark. So I think I set where is it? So so I probably set the color scheme to use system preference. So whatever my system is at the time, that should match it. And then I can specify the color scheme to use during those um, time windows. So when it's in dark mode, you use Vitesse dark. When I prefer high contrast, use Vitesse black, which I never do. I don't think this one ever gets detected. But when I prefer like like when it's when it's not dark mode, right? I use Vitesse light. So that's how I use it. So now I have the best of both worlds. I like my light mode. Like I, if you've told me a couple of years back that I would ever say I like my light mode theme, I'll probably say it's a lie. But I do now, and it's fun. It works for me. So that's it. Um, so what are the trade-offs of my setup? So I don't think so far I like it. The trade-off is, for example, like this, what's it? Status bar and things and quick navigation, which you could click on, but I don't need them because I could just use my shortcut to get there. And the tabs, you don't really know what tabs are open, but you could cycle through them. I never do like tabs anyway, so it works for me. And so I think that's probably all with the way my editor is set up. There's no much downside. Like no much downside at all. All right. So there you have it, folks. I hope this answered the question of the settings that I use in my VS Code editor to make it look the way it look, and also you get to see the extensions, the key bindings, and everything I use in my VS Code editor. And also leave in the comments which of these settings, extensions, or key bindings you're going to steal and use for yourself. Also, do not forget to share this video to that coworker who uses VS Code and their editor needs a makeover. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.